I kind of abruptly ended that, didn't I?
Yeah, I don't see it in your real window. Oh wait, it's still going. It's delayed.
Really? Okay, let's try this again. You can tell it's Monday. It is Monday, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I've heard. Um, Welcome in, Forrest and Lisa Shelton. Welcome in. Oh, you were in Joe's chat earlier, right? Yes, ma'am. Thank you for coming in. Um, this is a little kind of like an impromptu live. I had to take a nap earlier, and there were some things I wanted to go over today, and so I thought, why not? There's nobody home, and I'm bored, so let's do this. And Dolphin was available, so here we are. We're going to go over some new documents that dropped in the Stephan Sterns case. This guy is really starting to irritate me. I'm all down for, their constitutional rights, but man, we're getting carried away with some of this stuff, and it's kind of aggravating. And so we're going to take a look at some of that stuff and maybe talk about a few other things. After that, after we look at this, because there's only a few documents we're going to look at really and kind of have a conversation about it. Um, how many of you, before I start that, how many of you are you still, how many, let me ask it this way. First, how many have followed Sebastian Rogers' case and how many are still following it, right? Actively. I don't actively like go into chats
Ooh.
to, I don't,
Mm-hmm.
but I've
I
seen some,
checked out months ago.
right. I have seen some chatter on the Twitter because I'm always on the Twitter about other stuff, and I see stuff popping off. So we're going to look at something that the FBI and the TBI have two different flyers out right now with different dates on them, and I'll go into that a little bit. And I do know for those interested, and I'm kind of interested because I want to see what kind of, and I'll just say it, BS comes out of it. But I know Seth will be on a live tonight to clear the air. So
Oh God.
yeah, we'll probably still be live while that's happening. So I'll be like a replay crew just to see. But it's not like I know that I'm going to get anything out of it. You know what I mean? Like no information about the case. Now, SF Investigates did make a tweet a couple days ago that they're, because he's working for the Proudfoots, and something about, and I got that tweet saved to read about some information that's led them to a new area to search. And I don't know, he didn't elaborate. And I wish these people would start elaborating.
Yeah,
And
that's interesting.
yeah, that was the only, it started out with drama, of course, about Bullhorn Betty. Then he finally got to that part. I'm like, you know what? That's the only part I'm interested in. I could give a rat's
Mm-hmm.
ass about this other creator war bullshit. Um, I just want to know the details of this child's case. Um, and so that was an interesting thing that I noticed that was in the tweet, and I don't know what it means. I don't know what led them to this conclusion as to where they're, and he didn't elaborate on where the search really, what all was going to take place with it. Um, so I don't know what's going to come of that. We'll see. But after we go through this, we'll take a look at that stuff, and I'll let some more people trickle in before I go into the other stuff I want to talk about. But we'll get into this Stefan Stern stuff because he keeps making these crazy filings, right? And like we went over some last week, and that was in the CSAM case, and they extended that. trial out, so that's not even happening this month like it was supposed to.
Mhm.
So Stefan, now you know how we heard in Idaho they had their jury questionnaire thing list thing mailer or whatever they mailed out and asking all these questions and or wanting or survey, excuse me, the survey stuff. They haven't done that in this case, but they want to pick what the jury questionnaire looks like, as if like why does it matter at this point, you know? I mean, so we're going to take a look at that and some other stuff that he has dropped in as well. Now this one was a, you guys, can you guys see that okay? um, Motion for jury questionnaire. Um, and it comes now, Stephan Sterns, the defendant, through his undersigned counsel, and moves. Oh, I looked at my phone. It didn't show. Okay, it is showing up. Okay. Okay, so through his undersigned counsel, and moves this honorable court to issue an order requiring completion of a jury questionnaire as a precursor to jury selection. Now, I thought they always had to have a questionnaire first, right? And in support of this motion, the defendant states the following: Mr. Stearns has been indicted for first degree murder, and the state has filed notice of seeking the death penalty. In light of the charges and alleged facts of the case, along with the state's intention to seek death penalty in the case, the jury selection process will become more complex and time consuming than in a typical criminal case. Are they forgetting they're in Florida where we are always dealing with a death penalty?
I
Jurors are,
guess so.
jurors are used to it, right?
My
Uh,
question is, I'm sorry, with
Go ahead.
everything that they've got with him, evidence-wise, like photos, videos, whatever, what does it matter what you ask the jury? Because dude
Right?
is definitely guilty. So, I mean, if they've found like marks or identifying marks on him that
Hmm.
matched up to the picture, game over. What are we talking about?
Exactly.
With
And
a
he keeps
questionnaire.
wanting, yeah, and he keeps wanting particular words left out of trial, like use homicide versus murder. And wait till we get
Hmm.
to whether he wants the word evidence kept out during victim impact statements. It's getting crazy. And I'm like, well, who are you to get to call any shots and ask for special treatment after what you did to that child for years? It's insane. So it says, in light of the charges and alleged facts of the case, I think I read that one. So it's time consuming in a typical criminal case. Mr. Stearns has requested individual voir dire as to pretrial publicity. Dude, you ain't got near the pretrial publicity that Casey Anthony had. Shut up. Availability and or hardship issues that could result due to expected length of trial. How long they expect that trial to be, and the prospective jurors' views and beliefs related to the death penalty. There are often feelings and experiences of jurors relating to other issues that are highly sensitive and personal, which a juror may not feel comfortable bringing up in the presence of other prospective jurors. So they want these jurors questioned individually and all this stuff, in case they aren't comfortable talking about the death penalty. And in Florida, we don't need the jury to unanimously rule for the death penalty anymore,
That's what, 2/3, right?
right? Yeah. So a questionnaire provides a method by which a juror may give initial responses to important questions relating to juror qualification without the embarrassment of having to articulate those answers first in a room full of others. The first response given by a juror to these questions is often the most candid and telling, and the questionnaire preserves that first candid response, which has been given without any outside influence or pressure, either real or perceived from other jurors. Says he think the one juror making a statement is going to impact the rest of the jurors, and they can all just go along with that person's feelings. What the hell? A questionnaire would enable the court and counsel for the defense and the state to be aware, before verbal questioning, of sensitive issues and answers which might prejudice the jurors. I'm sorry, other jurors, and which might cause a mistrial if discussed in the presence of the entire panel. Well, you're reaching, dude. The questionnaire would include questions relating to the general background of the juror, as well as questions regarding death penalty views and exposure to publicity or other knowledge about the case. Obtaining this information in written form at the beginning of the jury selection process will save time normally spent by the court and the parties eliciting such information separately from each juror. The questionnaire would reduce the amount of time used by the attorneys in questioning the jurors by providing them with substantial information about each juror in writing before the verbal selection process actually begins. So you want them to write down their feelings, and then you can go verbally question them and be sensitive to the and ask the no, it doesn't make sense because you're going to reject them automatically if they say I support the death penalty. That sounds like what he's going for. The prospective
Mhm.
jurors should be sworn by the court to answer all written questions truthfully and completely. And the questionnaires will become part of the permanent court record and part of the voir dire in this case. Use of such a questionnaire has proven to be helpful in other cases for the purposes stated above, and considerable amount of time can be saved using questionnaires. Mr. Stearns' state and federal constitutional rights to a fair trial and due process and the effectiveness assistance of counsel will be aided by the use of the questionnaire. So you need that questionnaire to be an effective counsel. I wonder if any of these, never mind. Adequate, I've always wanted to say it wrong. Voir dire, I just did, I said it wrong again. Voir dire is also necessary to ensure that Mr. Stearns receives a fair trial, or fair and impartial trial, or jury that is not biased in favor of the death penalty or otherwise unfairly biased. See Morgan versus Illinois. Dude, you're in Florida, not Illinois, where the defendant respectfully asked his honorable court to issue an order requiring completion of a jury questionnaire as a prosecutor to jury selection in this case. So it sounds like to me they're just wanting to find out which jurors are okay with the death penalty and which ones are not. And they're afraid that jurors won't
Right.
be honest in front of the other jurors. That sounds like what's happening right there to me.
Mm.
Okay, now this one I found quite interesting. Is this the one? Let me look.
I mean, this trial is a waste of money.
It certainly is.
He should have just pled guilty and moved along.
Yeah, and he should. And it makes you wonder why he just doesn't. You got the 1,500 images off your cell phone, the
Mhm.
3,000 images off of your other computer of other children. I mean, come on, man. And who cares if that lady cop took your phone? You gave it to her. And then they did get a warrant to search the Google, right?
Right.
Because he had deleted all that from the phone and it wasn't back on there. So they had to get a Google warrant to search the Google Drive, all the things. And that's what it's like, dude, what are you doing here? Um, I haven't looked into his attorneys yet, but maybe I should and see what kind of other cases they've fought here in Florida and see their background a little bit more. Um, Let me check on chat here. Welcome in, guys. Welcome everybody listening in. Thanks for coming in and chatting. Um, oh, are y'all talking about? Um, oh, I see. No, they're not going to be nominated for Parents of the Year. I'm not good. Here's the thing with Sebastian's case. I don't know what parent did what, and I'm not here to argue what parent did what. I think it's a tragedy that a parent comes out and talks so much about their child's private struggles that have nothing to do with finding the child, except throwing shade at the other parent. And so, are we prepared to sit here and say that the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations and the FBI are all horrible at their job? Are we prepared to do that? Because if Katie Proudfoot harmed her child, and TBI and FBI are just turning their heads and going, "Oh, well, we don't got enough evidence." Like, please, if you've seen some of the shady stuff people are posting all over, look at this blurry image, another blurry image, but I'm telling you, they're carrying Sebastian out of the house. Don't show me a damn blurry image and tell me what I'm looking at. Clear that image up. because it looks like a blob. And just like in the Idaho 4 case, it's so disgusting and I'm over it. So, anyway, back to the document that you guys. um, okay, so this one, well, let me get the screen up because so Dolphin can see this. Okay, here we go. All right, motion for disclosure of favorable evidence. Sorry, I had to pull chat up on my screen there. All right. The defendant, Stephan Sterns, by and through his undersigned attorneys, demands that the state disclose to the defense all evidence favorable to defendant that now or in the future is possessed or controlled by the state of Florida and its agents, specifically including but not limited to the following information. What kind of favorable stuff do they think the state has? All material information in the state's possession or control, constructive or actual, that tends to negate the guilt of the defendant as to the offenses charged, or any offense for which he has been convicted of which mitigates the punishment for offenses charged. All material evidence or information in the state's possession or control, constructive or actual, that may reasonably be considered admissible and useful to the defense in the scene in the sense that it is probably material and exculpatory regardless of whether such information is deemed to be work product of the prosecutor or otherwise subject to discovery as a public record. Can you say Jen Soto out loud? All evidence in the actual or constructive possession of the state that is favorable to the defendant and material to the issue of guilt or punishment in this case, specifically including but not limited to all information that can be used to mitigate the homicides should be homicide in this case.
Mhm.
Is there somebody else we don't know about, right?
Maybe this was a copy and paste from another one of their cases.
Yeah, how many times have we seen these typos in these damn documents lately? The not just in this case. This request specifically includes all files in the actual or constructive possession or control of the state agent or its agents concerning Mr. Stearns, and specifically includes all files of local, municipality, or county and state agencies of any time ever investigated, arrested, prosecuted, or supervised the confinement, imprisonment, or incarceration of Mr. Stearns. Does that make it sound as if he's got past charges we're unaware of? I know he stabbed a
Mm,
guy when he was a teenager, and I know there was a time that roommate said that he caught Stefan with some unsavory materials, and the dad paid him off to be
right.
quiet. Um, but were there anything else that we don't know about yet? I feel like some good sleuths might have been able to pull that stuff up, but I didn't see anything or in Florida, you know what I mean? But he didn't. He spent a lot of time in California too. That's where he grew up. Um, they were well between California and Florida. They spent a ton of time in California. The names and addresses of all persons who might establish the innocence or mitigate the punishment of defendant, or impeach the credibility or contradict the testimony of any witness whom the state calls, Jennifer Soto, during the
Mhm.
trial in this case, or otherwise have information relevant to the issue of punishment in the case. I have a theory. Statement of any person whose name is furnished in compliance with the preceding paragraph. The term statement, as used herein, means a written statement made by said person and signed or otherwise adopted or approved by him, or a stenographic, mechanical, or electrical or other recording, or a transcript thereof, or which is a substantially verbatim recital or an oral statement made by said person to an officer or agent of the state and recorded contemporaneously with the making of such oral statements. Any oral, written, or record or recorded statements made by any persons to the police, to the state attorney, or to the grand jury, the MSD Commission, or the FDLE, Florida Department of Law Enforcement, that tends to establish the innocence or mitigate the punishment of defendant, or that tends to impeach the credibility or contradict the testimony of any witness whom the state will call during this case. Impeach witness. What witness could they possibly call that would do that? Jennifer Soto.
Mhm.
Do they, I've often wondered, theorized, and let me get a damn banner up before I get yelled at. Hold on. This is all theory and speculation, people. Everybody's innocent until proven guilty. I always wondered who really harmed Maddie that night. I can't help it. There's a lot of things about Jennifer Soto that don't sit well with a lot of us, and it's like y'all both were doing some really shady stuff there, lady. And I'm not taking away from what Stephan did to her, and I'm not saying he didn't harm Maddie, but I always wondered, how do we know which one did or didn't? How do we know that?
That's for sure.
You know what I mean? Could she
Mhm.
have lost her shit that night? Because something went down that weekend. Stephan's dad even says so. Maddie wasn't home. Maddie spent most of that week the prior week with her grandmother, had her birthday party, which her mother did not even bother to come to, didn't see her on her actual birthday or show up for the party. Something happened on Saturday that triggered Stephan. His dad says that in interviews. Um, Maddie's grandmother said Maddie did not want to go home that weekend and she was upset about having to go home that weekend. So, what happened once they all got home Sunday? Because Stephan arrived 15 minutes after Maddie got home from her birthday party. Jen arrived a little while later, and then by morning, that baby was gone. Hmm. Any information or material that tends to establish the innocence or mitigate the punishment of the defendant, or impeach the credibility or contradict the testimony of any person whom the state calls as a witness in the case. The substance of any and all statements, agreements, offers, or discussions had with any state's witnesses, including any suggestion of lenience, any suggestion of lenience, compensation, assurance not to prosecute. They're talking about Jennifer Soto.
Mhm.
Assurance to proceed. Remember her little immunity stuff. Assurance to proceed only on certain causes or suggestions of any or other benefit occurring to said individual who's ever in exchange for their corporation assistance of testimony in the case. I wonder if they're talking with Stephan about throwing Jen's slap under the bus to save himself from the motor charge. Even if she didn't do it, say she did it. How can they prove she didn't? We do know that we will never see Maddie's autopsy in the state of Florida, and I agree with that because that's our law. But we do know the cause of
Wait,
death.
not even in court?
No, there. After what happened with Gannon Stalk,
Mhm.
Florida passed a new law, and Mind of Monsters, YouTube creator, helped write that thing, and they passed it. Autopsies for minors under the age of 13 are sealed. So you will know the cause of death, but you will not get that autopsy report because Zap Girl got a hold of Gannon's, put it on her Patreon, and wanted people to come pay to look at that baby's photos, dead in the suit.
Right, but in court, though, they will go through the
They,
autopsy details, right?
they'll go through the details, but it will never be released to the public.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, 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 yeah. So that way nobody can profit off of it or share it all over the places. I'm going to tell you what, of course, it has to be discussed in court. We understand that. But who wants their child's autopsy out there floating around all over the place like that? I wouldn't. So I don't have a problem with Florida doing that. But we do know that the cause of
Mhm.
death was strangulation. Um, so there's that.
Did they
That's
come back with any toxicology?
if they did, it's in the autopsy, and we don't know. We do not
Mm.
know what it we. And I'm assuming we'll find out that information at trial, Dolphin, like you were saying, it'll be discussed. But
Mhm.
only thing we do know is it was leaked and it was talked about here in Florida. A little. It was talked about here in Florida before it went public that she was strangled, and I knew about it, but I knew it wasn't out there yet, so I didn't put that out there until it officially went out there. Um, because there was chatter about that. Um, there's some people I talk to here and there, and yeah, it's just like I wasn't going to put that out there until something was confirmed about it. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, there's so many messy stuff going on with creators out there these days. I don't want to. I have no desire to be one of those. You know what I mean? And
Oh, yeah.
protected. And Maddie's a child, so it's just like all that talk about her being pregnant. We don't have no confirmation of that, and there's no charges filed about an unborn. Well, it said homicides, didn't it?
Yeah, although the counts, it's just a single count, though.
Exactly.
Right. But you know what, though? What you just said, that something happened, and what
Mhm.
was it? What could it have been? Maybe Jen found out, you know,
Oh yeah,
and yeah, just kind of like lost it, or I don't know.
that's what I'm thinking. Did she that particular because she did text Stefan at that night. She needs to go to bed. And Stefan texts back, "Don't worry, she's all snuggled in." How did he put it? I forget the exact phrase.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, she's all snuggled up for the night. The way he worded it was so disgusting, right? Did Jen
Yeah.
go upstairs at some point and walk in that room and things got heated? I don't know. I don't trust Jennifer Soto. I don't think
I
any of
don't
us.
either.
And we tried to put our I tried to go there. Okay, lady's naive, lady wants a man at all costs, she's got all her mental issues, she knocks herself out at night, she has to get a good meal, take all her good meds, and go get her good night's sleep. That way he can have his way all night with her baby. Whatever, lady, I don't trust you. And we saw you on Fox 59 and all the or whatever station it was, Fox. We dropped her off, we this, we that, and come to find out
Hmm.
you didn't do nothing. You didn't even notice your own daughter's voice in the kitchen. You heard people in the kitchen that morning, but you couldn't say if one of them was your own child. I know my kids' voices. Between my roommates and my boyfriend. I don't have a boyfriend, but if I did, I'd know my daughter's voice. And the kitchen was literally right there at her bedroom door. And she said she heard them in the kitchen, but she couldn't tell if Maddie was in there or not. Like, what lady? Maddie's damn makeshift room was right there at the kitchen. Like, you're not telling the truth. So I don't know why they gave her any kind of immunity or played with her about that. Um, the substance and any and all consideration or promises. Did I read that part already? Money, immunity. Okay, here we go. The substance of any and all consideration or promises of consideration given to or made on behalf of government witnesses. And I'm assuming that would be expert witnesses, right? By consideration, defendant refers to absolutely any
Hmm.
of the value or use, including but not limited to money, immunity grants, witness fees, special witness fees, transportation assistance, assistance for favorable treatment with respect to any criminal, civil, tax court, or administrative dispute, and anything else which could arguably create an interest, incentive, or bias in the witness in favor of the state. Uh, the defense or that could reasonably act as an inducement to testify or to call. Now, aren't most expert witnesses paid?
Yeah.
So the defense can get one too. Florida's going to allot them some money for that. Hello, Brightwheel. Welcome in. Texas Ranger, good to see you guys. Real happy. Hello. Um, yeah, so they're wanting to know how they're compensated and how much and in what way, I guess. Any and all prosecutions, investigations, or possible prosecutions or pending or which could be brought against any witness that testifies for the state in this case, and any probationary, parole, or deferred prosecution statute of any state witness. I wonder if any jailhouse snitches are going to come testify on old Stefan.
Or somebody else that he was maybe selling the photos to, or sharing the
Oh,
photos with, or whatever. What if they got somebody like that to turn on him
yeah,
and testify?
that's a good point, Dolphin. That's a good point. All records and material information revealing felony convictions attributed to state witnesses. You may be onto something there. Any written or recorded statement and the substance of any oral statements made by the accused, including a copy of any statement contained in police reports or report summaries. Well, dude, I got all those. You need me to email them to you, together with the name and address of each witness to the statement. Those portions of recorded grand jury minutes that contain testimony of the defendant. Did he testify before the grand jury too? Any
That would
tangible
be
paper
interesting.
that
Maybe if it was an investigative grand jury at first.
yeah, yeah. And yeah, you're right. So he probably did. He did. Jen did. They probably had her mom in there and things like that. Hey, JC,
Mhm.
welcome in. Um, okay. Any tangible papers or objects which were obtained from or belong to the defendant, which the prosecuting attorney intends to use in trial or penalty phase. Whether there has been any electronic surveillance, including wiretapping of the premises of the defendant or of the conversations to which the defendant was a party and any documents relating. Do they think they bugged their house before they arrested him, listening in on their conversations,
Maybe.
including wiretapping of the premises of the defendant or of the conversations to which the defendant was a party?
Or his parents' home.
Well, he stayed at the condo with Jen, I think, until the arrest, didn't he?
Yeah, but they also were around his parents' home too. Because
Oh,
remember,
yeah.
the
Yep.
police were showing up, and
When
then
mom ran outside screaming Maddie
like
because
a
she
nut.
just found, yeah,
Yeah.
like she had just found the torso doll.
Mhm.
Theatrical people. Oh my goodness. I wonder if she saw the cop car, coming down the road. She's like, "Oh, here's my shot." And run outside and scream Maddie, make it look good. I don't know. I'm just being a salty bitch right now. Okay. Whether there has been any search or seizure of any documents relating thereto. Whether the state has any information which has been provided by a confidential informant. Reports or statements of experts made in connection with the particular case, including results of physical or mental examinations and scientific tests, experiments, or comparisons. Any scientific or medical report that tends to establish the innocence or mitigate punishment. Oh, you mean his traumatic brain injury from when he was 9 years old and got ran over by a truck? But he's
Mm.
functioned all this time pretty damn well. Okay. That
Oh,
clock.
speaking of him
Go
being
ahead.
younger, let me ask you a question. Wasn't there some sort of talk about when he was like a teenager that he had done something
Well, he
with
stabbed a
some,
man.
but no, beside the stabbing,
Oh,
like to a female or whatever?
he
Because
had
he
a
was older, and didn't he go after somebody who
yes,
was
dated a
younger?
younger girl, and I
Hmm.
can't recall her name right now, and I probably wouldn't wanna put it out there, no way, but we have
True, but
photos.
I'm just wondering what age he was, if he was, like, say, under 18, and
No,
then that would have been, like, a sealed record, or if he was a little
yeah,
bit older, but then this girl was under 18. There
she
was
was under
something
18,
else.
and
Okay.
she was a petite person, from what I remember reading. I'll have to go back and look at that information because it's in all those documents that we have. But
Mhm,
he was he was older. I think he might have been right around 18, Dolphin, but she was younger and petite and childlike. That her
mhm.
look, was childlike. Um, and I'm a very petite person. People always thought I was way younger than I was, but I didn't date like weirdos like that. But yeah, and then he also got caught, as he got older, um, with those other roommates he had. They so one of them accessed, like, they had the Wi-Fi there at the house, and the guy
Mhm.
was doing something one day, and he stumbled across a folder Stearns had saved with questionable material inside of it, and then one of them caught him trying to film his girlfriend in the shower,
Wow.
and then his dad paid him off to be quiet. Yeah, and Stefan moved out. Like, he called Stefan's dad and said, "Your son's got to get out of here, and here's why."
So he has, like, a history, kinda like prior
Yes,
acts, like, way back when he was a
yes,
teenager.
Yeah,
Mm.
it started, and a lot of these people start having issues in their adolescence, and I don't know why that's so hard. People, not you, but in general,
Oh,
people
yeah.
people they don't get it. They don't get that this stuff starts when they're adolescents and it manifests as they get older and older, and then when they're adults, they can start acting on this stuff. We don't even know if he had victims prior to Maddie at this point, or was Jennifer the first woman that he could actually get away with it with. You know what I mean? Because not every woman's
Mhm.
going to put up with shady behavior around their child.
Right, just bring
Like,
any old man
oh,
around their kid.
all
Mhm.
right, I'm that woman. Say one crossword, or you look at, no, you're gone. You are not that important. You are gone. The second I get a vibe, you're out of here. I do not need you in my life. Period. Period. Um, No word on Jen, JC. She's still in hiding somewhere. We don't know where the hell she's at. I don't know if she's in Chattahoochee, Florida. We have the state mental hospital called Chattahoochee, and maybe she's there, maybe she's not. Some say she's hiding out at her mother's house, which I don't know if that's true, but she has not been charged with anything yet. She's still just being out there, being Jen, and hiding. She's pretty much afraid of the public right now. Nobody in Florida seems to know where she's at. I've asked. And if they know, they're not talking. Um, Whether the state has any information which has been provided by, I'm way down here, aren't I? Sorry, guys. Any material information with the state's possession in which it intends to negate or assist the defense with respect to the aggravating circumstances. Now, the CSAM is an aggravating circumstance, dude. Any material information with the state's possession or control which tends to assist or otherwise help the defendant in preparing mitigation mitigating circumstances. Now, if in case you guys don't know, the mitigation part comes after conviction, right? To try to mitigate down the sentence, basically. And in this case, it would have to be to try to get the DP off the table. Any
Mhm.
material information within the state's possession or control which tends to assist or otherwise help the accused in preparing mitigation circumstances not specifically listed in Section 921.141 of the Florida statute. As grounds for this motion, the defendant would allege as follows. The defendant is I'm sorry, am I going to get closer? Oh shit, am I knocking stuff over? Hold on, guys. I gotta go get my new glasses. Let me pull this up. Okay, duh, that's better. Okay. As grounds for this motion, the defendant would allege as follows. The defendant in this above styled case is charged by indictment with murder in the first degree, a capital offense. The defendant has been declared indigent, and the Office of Public Defender has been appointed to represent him. Disclosure of the above styled information is required by Florida Rule of Criminal Procedure. Disclosure as the above styled information is required pursuant to Section 9214141 Florida statute. Disclosure of the above styled information is required by Article 1, Section 1 of the Florida Constitution. I'm not reading all them numbers, y'all. Disclose of the above styled information is required to pursue pursuant to amendments of the United States Constitution. I think they'll give you all the stuff you're asking for, their attorney, if they have it. The defendant, Stephan Sterns, respectfully requests an order requiring the state attorney to disclose to the defense counsel the above styled information and permit defense counsel to inspect, copy, test, and photograph those materials as related to the issue of the penalty phase. Now, if he's even, because the CSAM material, they can't have a copy of it. They
Right.
they have to go make the appointment to go to the prosecutor, to the DA's office, to view that material. They can't take photographs of it. They can't leave with any of it. It has to stay right there because of what kind of material it is. So that's an interesting document. I thought that when it mentions things that may help, their defendant. Like, what's going to help him other than Jen Soto's crazy ass testimony? Or lies, or what are they about to do here? um let me see. I gotta make this screen smaller so I can pull this
I
one up.
mean, unless there's text messages or something to show that she was in on it
Yeah, and they
or
know.
that she, agreed.
Well, they had, that we know they were in constant communication, texting each other. They were texting that night. Stern's mother said that he and Jen were constantly on FaceTime together when he was at her house. Like they would just stay on it for no reason. Um,
Yeah.
they were always, so did they, if they found something that could incriminate Jen, why did they offer her immunity of any kind? You know what I mean?
I guess because they want her testimony
I guess, but did
against him.
they need it? You know what I mean? It's like they may need it for the death trial. They don't need her testimony for the CSAM, I wouldn't think, because they got all the images. And this is where the case we're talking about is the death penalty case, but the murder charges. But is she going to say, okay, I knew he did it, but I got scared and didn't tell, and I know, or I don't know what's going on
Yeah,
here.
but you can't like as law enforcement, if you need her, you can't say, "Oh, we're going to let you go on this one case, but, this other case, we're going to come down on you." So, you know what I mean? If they're going to make a deal with her, it's going to be for everything basically, you know?
Exactly. You're right. And did she finally divulge some kind of information that they needed or wanted? We'll see. All right, let's take a look at this one real quick. So I found this one interesting too. More of those words he wants kept out of stuff. Oh, where'd it go? That's the wrong one. It didn't pull up. Here we go. Hang on, I gotta take that one down for you guys and pull the other one back up. I see what it did. Okay, this one is a motion by the defendant to preclude use of the term evidence when referring to victim impact statements or information. What other word would you call it? The defendant, Stephan Sterns, by and through his undersigned attorneys, makes this motion to preclude the use of the word evidence when referring to victim impact statements or information. I guess they don't want the impact statements to be called evidence, um, which it's not, so why would they? And then they go through all the constitutional amendments. In support of this motion, Mr. Stearns files the following. Mr. Stearns is charged by indictment with first-degree murder. The state of Florida is currently seeking the death penalty against Mr. Stearns. Victim impact information is neither a statutory or non-statutory aggravating factor, nor is it a mitigating circumstance. Florida statute permits the presentation of victim impact information to a jury in the sentencing phase of a capital trial, despite the fact such information is wholly irrelevant to the findings of the jury. And you know what? They're not for the jury. I mean, they are, but when are we going to start putting victims' rights up there with defendants' rights? It's bothered me for a long time that people, well, that's not in the Constitution. Well, maybe it should be. Like I said, I'm all for their basic rights. Everyone should be treated fairly until they're proven guilty. But to give victims absolutely no rights and you get all the rights, including all the extra stuff about words that we can use and stuff, no, you're drawing a line. JC, I think the murder trial starts in August. They just pushed back the CSAM trial, and I till April, I believe. Irrelevant to the findings, the jury must make determining whether Mr. Stearns should be sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole or death. Victim impact information is not evidence because it is not probative and any material fact relevant to the jury's determination of the appropriate sentence, and therefore it should not be called evidence. Okay, well, I can agree with that, but I think the state knows that the impact statement is not an evidence. Huh. The defense requests this court and the state use the terms statements. Well, wouldn't they? Or information in lieu of the word evidence for purposes of instructing the jury or any time victim impact is mentioned. Well, it's called victim impact statements, guy, not victim impact evidence. Lord, I hate when they challenge our brains. Like
Yeah.
you're not smart at all. Okay, he's got a memorandum of law mentioned here. Death is different. Really? Yeah, I'm sure Maddie knows that. This is a capital case, therefore heightened standards of due process apply. The United States Supreme Court has long held that the qualitative difference of a sentence of death from all other punishments calls for a greater degree of reliability when the death sentence is imposed. He'll be on death row for a long time with it. You know what? Just take that off the table and throw him out there in gin pop and let them have at him. That's probably the best thing to do anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm serious. I'm in Florida. I know about these Florida prisons. I've heard things. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead, Stefan. Beat that death penalty all you want, baby. Calls for a greater degree of reliability when the death sentence is imposed. 4 years after Justice Brennan introduced the death is different argument in the Furman versus Georgia case, a plural like, why am I getting all tongue tied tonight? Probably because I'm tired and haven't had enough coffee yet. I just made some a minute ago. Plurality of Supreme Court justices echoed his sentiments in language that would be repeated in countless opinions. Death in its finality differs more from life imprisonment than 100-year prison term differs from one of only a year or two. Because of the qualitative difference, there is a corresponding difference in the need for reliability in the determination that death is appropriate punishment in a specific case. So, sentence his ass to 100 years then. Likewise, Florida Supreme Court has recognized that because the death penalty is unique in its irrevocability, irrevocability, a high degree of certainty and procedural fairness, as well as substantive proportionality must be maintained in order to ensure that death penalty is administered even-handedly. Do they not think what he did warrants this under the new
I
law?
know. How do you not administer the death penalty even-handedly? I mean,
Right.
I just, ugh.
They're gonna, good luck fighting that death penalty in the state of Florida, dude.
I
We've had
mean,
it for a
it's
long
not like
time.
they're trying to give people a death penalty for, I don't know, cheating on your taxes or something,
Right.
you know? I think the
Thank you.
crime fits the penalty.
Exactly. And we have regulations established in Florida as to who we can impose a death penalty on, right? This is like I told y'all, I grew up here and all my life I thought the death penalty was normal, that every state had it until I got older and realized they didn't, and it was a big deal and people fought about it. I was like, oh, hell, you know. But good luck fighting it here in Florida, mister. That's all I can say to you. Because people have tried. God, have they tried. And they didn't succeed. We still have it. And I don't want to even get into a debate on whether it's fair or not. I could care less. Honest to God, I don't care. Either way, I have not going to put an opinion out there on it. We have it. If it's imposable in this case, then do it. That's my state law, not mine. So there. I know people have very rigid thoughts on the death penalty. But like I said, it doesn't matter either way. Throw him in there for 100 years. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Let him get some of what he gave to Maddie. While all judicial proceedings require fair and deliberate consideration by a trial judge, this is particularly important in a capital case because we have said death is different. These heightened Death is different, and what he did to Maddie was different. These heightened standards of due process and reliability apply to sentencing phase, including any introduction and argument in victim impact information. When Florida got fed up with pedophiles like this, that's when we implemented the new laws. And he's the first one that's going to try to test our new laws. So we say, bring it, Stefan. Victim impact information does not make a a defendant eligible for the death penalty, nor is it permissible for the jury to consider. Well, no, it's not. But I think the jury will. Florida's got very specific jury instructions, and they would be instructed not to take that into consideration while making their decision on the death penalty. Now, will it weigh on their mind? Probably. But it depends if Jen's the one up there giving the impact statement. I don't know how impactful her statement would be.
Yeah, I know. I just was sitting here silently rolling my eyes on that one because
Right?
I doubt she'll have anything that's gonna, move
No.
the
Like,
meter any.
you're right. Her mother may have something to get up there and say, or her aunt or grandpa, but what the hell's Jen going to get up there and say? I didn't want it to become a Woody Allen situation, but I didn't think it was evil. Okay. Like, I think I need some more coffee. All right. Victim impact information does not make a defendant eligible for the death penalty, nor is it permissible for the jury to consider. We know that. Um, should receive the death penalty rather than life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Victim impact information is neither an aggravating factor nor a mitigating circumstance. Further, it is impermissible for the jury to consider as an aggravating factor anything which is not listed. Victim impact information is not a non statutory aggravating factor supporting the imposition of a death sentence. Indeed, Section 921141, I'm going to have to look all that up. I always do that sometimes. I was looking up a Florida code this morning. A permissive but not mandatory. There is no statutory requirement that victim impact information be presented or argued at the jury trial at all. So you can try to keep those out completely. In a capital case, after the jury has rendered a sentencing verdict, the court must then conduct a separate and final sentencing hearing wherein both state and the defendant can present additional evidence, commonly referred to as a Spencer hearing. This is true. After such a hearing, the court must issue a written order setting forth sentence required by Florida statute.
You know what? That little part about there's no requirement for victim impact statements to be read or whatever before the jury or whatever. I mean, in this case, yeah, they're right. I don't think they're going to be necessary because as soon as this jury sees what this man did to her and finds out how long it had been going on, they're not going to even need to hear how the family was impacted. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It's going to be obvious, right?
It's just going to be a wrap, you
Yeah,
know?
I agree. And why his attorneys are not trying to talk him into a plea bargain to get the DP off the table is beyond me. Will
Well,
Florida,
they
will
could
Florida
be,
play
but
ball? They
yeah,
might.
if your client doesn't listen to you, because like look at the Jodi Arias case.
Oh,
Those attorneys afterwards said they tried to, talk her into all kinds of things, and she just would not listen.
same with
So,
Corey Vallow.
mm-hmm.
And, is he that narcissist that he's like, no, I didn't do it. I don't care what those images show you guys. Those aren't me. That's not my private UC. Even Jen couldn't recognize it because she never saw it often.
Mm.
Like I was thinking that when they're like, is this his? And she's like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, what the hell? Did you never see it before, lady?
No, she was trying to go along with the story. She was in
Yeah.
protect him mode and go along with the story, you know?
Well, when they said he had very specific markings, I'm going to get real
Yeah,
graphic. People, we're all adults here because my
yeah.
child, I am marked for not for children. His penis had a very specific marking on it.
Mm-hmm.
They showed her that damn photo. She said she didn't know if that
You
was
know
there
she
or not.
knew. Yeah.
She damn well, right? If
Mm-hmm.
either you know or either you've never seen it. And if you never seen it, the only one seeing it was your daughter. Bitch, please. If you
Yeah.
if you weren't having sex with this man, who do you think he was having sex with? He's a man.
I I honestly hope that he does not try to say, "Oh, that, Maddie initiated all of this." Because I know they said that he tried to say that to, like, his parents, right?
Uh-huh.
Or whatever. He
He kind
better
of
not
alluded
come
to
into court trying to
that.
say that. A 7-year-old
Yeah, she was barely
forced
7,
him
Dolphin. She was barely
into
7.
mhm.
And it does say in the documents that I have that they recovered the video where
Mhm.
he talks her into doing something to him in order to play the game on the phone, and she does
Mhm.
it. And the child had just turned 7 years old. So tell us again how that baby initiated that. You know what I mean? No, sir. She, when a child is done that way and it goes on for years and years, sometimes they don't realize it's not normal until they get older. They don't. They think it's normal. They have nothing else to show them that it's not normal. You know what I mean? I've
Yeah.
seen that with a lot of cases where children were done that way growing up. They It may make them uncomfortable and things of that nature, but they still don't realize it's not what we're supposed to be doing, you know, until they're older. Um, Thus, victim impact information is not a factor to be considered by either a capital jury rendering a sentence, verdict, or judge considering imposition of the death penalty, which I don't think they would be considered anyway. I mean, they're not supposed to be. They're just there to make their impact statements to get you to go ahead and convict, right? Or to help with that, to show how much emotional distress it caused a family member. And I think family members, like I've said in the past, someone brought up once, well, they shouldn't even mention victims in court. That made me want to just reach to the computer and, better not say that, but it just made me want to slap a bitch. I can
Yep,
say that.
I feel you.
I was like, what? What did you just say? Like, that's so horrible. Like, I don't care what you personally believe about a defendant, but to say they shouldn't even be brought up is so ridiculous. How can you not bring them up during the trial? Jesus Christ. What are we here for? You know, if we can't even bring up the victim. Um, Applicable in both the capital and non-capital context, provides victims or their next of kin the right to make statement under oath at the sentencing hearing for a defendant. See, I thought it was, always at the sentencing when it comes in anyway. Hearing for a defendant convicted of a felony or submit a written statement under oath before the imposition of the sentence by the court. These victim impact statements referred to as evidence. I don't, is that, I'm going to look into that and see if Florida, is that really considered an evidence, like he's saying? Because I've always just thought it was victim impact statements, right? Victim impact information is not evidence because it is not probative of a material fact and issue, whether in the context of a capital sentencing proceeding or any other sentencing proceeding. The fact that the victim and their survivors have a right to be heard does not render their statements evidence as that is material. Rather rather the importance of the victim's right and the value of these statements is inherent to the experience of being heard. The importance of the victim's right and the value. Uh, Sorry, I got distracted by a car noise outside. I think somebody pulled in. Probably my son. Um, this guy.
The only thing that I can just think of that reason why they might be harping on the evidence part is, let's say a victim, like a family member gets up and, decides to say something, before sentencing and say, oh, well, he used to do XYZ, blah, blah, blah. So maybe that's why they're trying to say, let's make it clear that this isn't evidence, so that in case somebody does try to say something, then jury members won't be like, oh, this is fact, this is evidence, and
Mhm.
then say, yeah, he definitely deserves a death penalty now, because, oh, the other stuff that they presented wasn't heavy enough. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
that's the only reason why I could think that they would be harping on,
yeah,
making sure it wasn't seen as evidence.
right. And I'm gonna have to look that up and see if it's literally called that in Florida, because I don't think it
I've
is.
never heard that.
Me neither. And I've been here my entire life, and I'm no spring chicken. I've been here a long time, and I've never heard of it. I mean, I've seen a lot of court cases here in Florida, and it's always been victim impact statements, as far as I'm concerned, not an evidence.
Yeah, that's pretty much a nationwide thing. So,
Right,
yeah.
exactly. Um, so yeah, it's just yeah, these people, some of these defense attorneys really just sometimes they're, I get their job and all, but sometimes they're reaching. Um, Sorry, I lost where I was, guys. Where was I? Rather, the importance of the victim's rights right and the value of these statements is inherent to experience to be heard. Because such information is not evidence, to refer to it as such in front of a jury will tend to imbue the information with a weight and legal significance it simply does not have, posing a substantial
Okay,
risk.
so what I was thinking. Mhm.
Mhm. Basically, that's it. I'm not going to read that whole entire bullshit document because we know what it's basically saying. They don't want them to get up there and use that as like evidence, so they won't. Now, there was something else. Do you remember when Maddie's photo was accidentally leaked?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
By the what was it? The sheriff?
Yep. Um,
Mhm.
Check this out. Let me pull it back up. Sorry, it went away. Come on, Stephan Sterns, get up here. I tried to copy this link and share it in the Discord and pin it so you could have it too and look at it, but it wouldn't let me. I got to figure out a way to do that on this PC. Okay. Because like we do have our Idaho doc thing posted up in there. I wanted to put this in there as well. And no, guys, I'm sorry, I do not have an open Discord yet. Don't know that I ever will. It's basically my office, and my team members are in there with me. That's where we drop a lot of our research and discuss our stuff here. Okay, let me find it. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Oh, I gotta make this screen smaller so I can see this whole darn thing. Okay. Okay, here we go. Now, get this one out of the way too. Okay, get this screen up. So this pertains to the sheriff, and the sheriff was Lopez, and he had a social media account, for the sheriff's department there, and they were uploading some stuff for like, was it senior citizens or something another, and
I don't really remember.
yeah, it was some kind of thing they were uploading photos for, uh, and they accidentally, quote unquote, put Madeline Soto's crime scene photo in there of her where she was found with her laying there. So it was out there on the internet for a hot minute. He was added to the Brady list. So anyway, state of Florida versus Stephan Sterns, notice of placement of state witness on the state's Brady list. The state hereby gives notice pursuant to Florida are criminal, whatever, and pursuant to the Brady versus Maryland, that the individual who is listed below has been placed on the state's Brady list, to wit, Marcos Lopez of the Osceola County Sheriff's Department. For additional information or to arrange for inspection of related documents, please contact undersigned state attorney. I might just do that. Maybe we want to know more. But yes, so I thought that was interesting that he was put up on the Brady list. Um,
Mhm.
and he's also as a state witness, but I don't know like how active of a witness is he, besides just being the sheriff. All of his deputies actually worked the case.
Right.
Um, I was looking to make sure we didn't miss any. They have a stipulated order to provide confidential, or but you can't view that one yet. It's called stipulated protective order to provide confidential and or exempt public records, laboratory friction ridge file, bench notes, and analytical and electronic data. But that one hasn't been uploaded to view yet, but it's on there. Um, There's a motion to declare Florida's capital sentencing scheme unconstitutional. We kind of went over that one, and we went through the other ones that were just uploaded. So that was basically it. They got a supplemental witness list up, or provisions of states witness list. Let me see what that one says. Um, that's just them filing, telling that they're going to have it. Oh, we already knew she was. A copy of Elizabeth Bourdon. She will be one of the state witnesses. But
Quick
that's all.
question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I just was thinking about that. So they put him on the Brady list, right? But Brady is supposed to be related to anything that's exculpatory to a defendant, correct?
That's always been a confusion to me. There's Brady Giglio or
Right.
whatever, you know. Um,
I think Giglio is like stuff that they've tried to hide, right? But I think Brady is anything that's exculpatory because I think that's what they were talking about in Idaho for with Bethany Funk way back when they wanted to talk to her. Um, was that she had exculpatory information, and I thought that that's what they put her. They said that she had Brady information. I thought.
A Brady List is a database maintained by a prosecutor's office that contains names of law enforcement officers who have a history of credibility issues, such
Oh.
as past instances of dishonesty or misconduct, which means that their testimony in court could be considered unreliable and must be disclosed to the defense if they are involved in a case. The term originates from the landmark Supreme case Brady versus Maryland, which establishes the legal requirement to disclose exculpatory evidence to the defendant.
Hmm.
Oh, Dolphin. Hmm. Now, is that just what kind of information could he have? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We know there's no exculpatory evidence unless
Definitely not.
Shannon said something to him that he didn't share with the rest of the world, which I don't know about, you know. We don't know.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, unless it's something that doesn't have anything to do with his accident.
yeah, it, it could have. Hell, I don't even know what that could be about, honestly. There's so many different things it could be. But, like, what kind of exculpatory type stuff they think they could get on stuff on is beyond me. Who folks put too much of their drama on, don't they? They certainly do. What y'all talking about? I haven't been reading, so I haven't been able to see chat, and I like to see what you guys are saying. Um, well, death death penalty won't get you parole, but you can definitely be you can get paroled in Florida if you're good in prison. I know a guy who's been in there since he was 19. He harmed two individuals. He's still in there. And this was back in 19, was it before? It was, I had already had both of my girls, so 80, about 89. And yeah, he should have been paroled already, but he couldn't keep himself out of trouble. He was a friend of mine's brother. Oh, damn, that was a loud truck that rolled by here. Dolphin, it got a little rock and rolling outside last night. I had
Oh
sat,
yeah.
yeah, I had put something heavy on my glass table because it's under my pole barn where it's in the shade. But one of my chairs was blown over. A little piece of the skirting around the bottom of the house. One piece that always wants to pop loose, and something else blew over. But I was like, I I didn't hear all that wind going down, and I was tossing and turning all night, and it got so cold here last night.
Yeah. Hmm.
God, it got in the
It
30s.
was cool here too.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you got your power back on yesterday before all
Yeah,
this.
after 8 hours. Jesus.
That's like, I feel you because after hurricanes we lose power forever, and
Hmm.
I don't. It's not cool to go without it for 8 hours, is it? It's not.
Nope. Mm-mm.
All right, let me see what else I got. I'm gonna have to take a break and go grab a cup of coffee, guys. I did want to come out and share those new Stearns documents. Joe and I are going to pick up our read again on almost said Stearns, on the Mickey Steins documents again, but I don't
Oh,
exactly
yeah, the
know.
deposition.
Yeah, we're going to finish that. Um, uh-oh. I Let me see when this is happening. Hold on a minute, guys. Let me check something out real quick. Okay, I'm not sure what time, but it looks like Bob Mata is going to have Andrew Baldwin back on tonight to discuss the defense latest filings in the Delphi case.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, I'll have to go listen to that later. And anyway, that's I think he's at the airport. I don't know where he's doing. I don't think he has it scheduled up yet. I just saw a notification come down from him, and I was like, "What is that?" Um, oh, 8:40. 8:45. It looks like maybe. I don't know if I got that right. Oh, there we go. I don't know what the time they got it scheduled for, but anyway, if y'all want to go check that out later, go ahead over there and see what they got to say in that case. Let's see, where was I going to pull up Stearns? There was an interesting document that I saw earlier, and it won't open. It's about reporting missing children in Florida. And about, especially under the age of 13, like 13 under, how you need to report them immediately. And there's just different criteria.
Right.
And, I wonder, with all the shadiness of when Jen and Stearns claimed they called and reported her and all that, we'll have to do some more. I think I've still got some of the documents that I haven't finished going through yet in that case, like not the ones off the docket itself, but the ones that were pulled from FOIA request
Oh,
with
okay.
the really, intimate stuff in them. I know there's some PDFs I have not gotten to cover yet on here that I do want to take a look at with you guys. We got so busy with the Delphi coverage during the trial, and then I picked back up my Idaho 4 coverage. So I'm trying to, stick to a good schedule and pull up what we need to when we need to, and discuss things when they're happening. Especially now that I'm home all the time and I can actually stream whenever I want, it's making things a little easier. Now I did want to show this. This is just for investigative stuff. While this plays, I'm going to go grab a cup of coffee, and then I'm going to show you guys two things that pertain to this. What I was talking about with the posters.
First time in months, there has been an update on a missing teens case that had search efforts expanded all the way to Hopkins County. Sebastian Rogers has been missing for 10 months. His 16th birthday was in December, and since his disappearance, search efforts have not stopped, and police say the investigation remains active with hundreds of tips in the case. Investigators say some information has not been released yet because it might jeopardize that investigation. And we're learning.
A Fox 35 update now. The trial for Stephan Sterns gets pushed back 2 months. He's accused of sexually abusing 13-year-old Maddie Soto before allegedly killing her.
The lawyers for Sterns filed dozens of motions which caused the delay for the sex crimes trial. And Fox 35's Randy Hildreth joins us live tonight. So, Randy, you've been digging through the documents. What have you found so far?
Yeah, good evening to you both. So first, starting with what you were just discussing, that motion filed to push back the trial. And this is the third time that has happened in this case. But we also saw motions filed by Sterns' legal team about what evidence they believe should be left out of this case.
State of Florida versus Stephan Sterns.
Stephan Sterns was not in court Wednesday for his pretrial hearing, and he won't see a courtroom for at least another few months.
The court has also received what is purported to be an unopposed motion to continue.
Judge Keith Karsten ruled Sterns' sex crimes trial could get pushed back until May. His attorneys filed a motion asking for more time to prepare, to interview witnesses and review evidence. And prosecutors did not object.
I don't believe that we would be able to proceed to trial until the defense has had an opportunity to review that evidence and these motions are resolved.
This case centers around Sterns' 60 sex crime charges. He's accused of sexually abusing his girlfriend's daughter, 13-year-old Maddie Soto, for years. The alleged abuse came to light last year when investigators were looking into her disappearance and murder. They say explicit images were found on Sterns' phone.
I want you to discredit yourself by saying you don't know about all the pictures that are on your phone.
Ahead of Wednesday's hearing, Sterns' legal team filed several motions in this case, including a motion to suppress evidence obtained from Sterns' phone. They argue detectives illegally seized his phone without consent or a warrant during their search for Maddie. They also filed a motion to suppress evidence obtained from a Google search warrant. They say the application to get that warrant relied on evidence that was obtained illegally. Now, again, the trial is set to start in May. And you may remember Sterns is also charged with first-degree murder in Maddie Soto's death. That trial is set to start in September, and he could face the death penalty. Reporting tonight, Randy Hildreth, Fox 35 News.
Pokemon, did you look that up where you say inmates with crimes before October 1st are eligible for parole? Yeah, 'cause the guy I was speaking of committed his 2 crimes in, like I said, it was 80, I think it was 90 actually, because I had both of my girls at that time. He unalived one person and damn near unalived another and did not get the DP, but he got life. But he was eligible for parole. He just can't keep himself clean in there. But honestly, he needs to stay where he's at, knowing that kid. Let's see. Now, let me pull up this TBI stuff. Because for some reason, actually, let me do this first. Where's it at? Sebastian. Okay. Oh, here it is, the new info. I try to label my stuff so I can keep up with it easier when I'm trying to bring it up for you guys. All right, if you all, I don't know if you're familiar with SF Investigates on Twitter. He's on there all the time. He goes back and forth with Bullhorn Betty and all them people, and I don't pay no mind to all that because I can't stand all that drama. So I'm going to try to skip through. They're battling it out right now in this, but he goes on about himself. All right, Sebastian Rogers. I speak with Sebastian's family multiple times a day. I guess Betty claimed that he had been fired. Wait a minute. Is this the right one? Because I'm not reading their drama. Okay. Sebastian Rogers. I speak with Sebastian's family multiple times a day. Over the past 3 days, and this was just a couple of days ago, we have thoroughly planned our next search based on newly obtained intelligence, more than 100 hours of analyzed surveillance, and highly significant information acquired in the last 48 hours. What does that even mean? You know, where did you get this information? Where are we going to go with this search?
Yeah, that's what I'd like to know.
Yeah, I don't care about all this drama with Bullhorn Betty and all this stuff she's out there saying. I don't watch that lady. I've never liked her. I've never watched her. I don't consider her anything. Takes up no headspace in my head, right? I could never watch her channel and take away anything true crime from it. So she's not somebody that's even on my damn radar, but I know they're fighting all the time and I can't stand it. Be adults, be mature, get out there and make it about this. Make it about that child and what you're doing to find him. I could care less what you're doing to each other and saying about each other. It's so ridiculous. So I was hoping that they could, at least I don't know. I feel like at some point, will the TBI or FBI come out and make any clarifications or say, hey, you people are being downright idiots. Quit putting out your blobby ass, blurry photos. Now, let me look at the. Okay. So, first, let me do this. Hang on. Sorry. I need to show you what I'm talking about so that you know what we're talking about and why. Okay, here we have it. This is the Bullhorn Betty bullshit. Her and a few others, I think, were doing this. I'm not even sure who all is involved. All right. I think we went over this the other day a little bit, and this really irritated me because, Dolphin, you know who this is, right?
Who, Bullhorn Betty?
No, on screen right now. This guy.
No, I don't see it. Hold on a second. Let me go back to the backstage screen. No, I just see her.
Wait, it was showing him until that started. Hold on a second. All right, I'll show you. It's a picture of Hoodie Guy from the Grub Truck.
Oh, okay.
So today, Bullhorn Betty accidentally exposed the enhanced video fraud during her live stream. She revealed a 13-page folder containing images and background layers used to fabricate the so-called enhanced image. Among these images, and people keep this in mind when creators are putting out photos and telling you what they are. There are people literally in my comments section under the Idaho 4 case trying to tell me things that other creators are saying that I already know they're saying, that I will not entertain. So back to this, because I know about this kind of shit right here. Fabrications. You won't get none of that here. If it does, I need to be off the internet. Okay, she revealed a 13-page folder containing images and background layers used to fabricate the so-called enhanced image. Among these images was a frame from the Idaho 4 murders. God rest their souls, they're still being used by people. Proof that the so-called enhancements are nothing more than manipulated fakes created for profit.
Of course.
For an image to be truly enhanced, only the actual source video can be used. However, the folder she revealed contains 13 images, included background colors, layers, and external images that were not sourced. Now, they're trying to say what you're going to see is somebody carrying out Sebastian Rogers from the home.
I don't know where that one came from.
Oh, hold on. Let me get it to the beginning. Oh, maybe I did. Okay.
This
is ridiculous, though.
In this.
Isn't it?
And some people are
that image?
Starting to get
Sebastian,
clearer images
Chris,
now.
Katie is what they're claiming.
Again,
and look,
this right here, unfortunately, I don't know where this has come from.
And he's circling her file right there. And she's saying she don't know where that image came from.
And I don't want to speculate on that particular one because, in all fairness, I don't know where that one came from.
Liar. Came from one of her own posts.
It's going to be very difficult for the hate channels to dispute this.
Okay, so what they did was they put out this image, her and others. If I can get back to just that image. If it'll let me. Right there. Guys, and it says that this is Sebastian being carried upside down. And Katie is allegedly here on the right and Chris up here. All right, so, and that would place the last date of him being seen on the 26th. So then Steve says the FBI came out and addressed it, but they didn't. All they did was change the flyer. But the TBI flyer has not been changed. I'm going to show you.
So, and Bullhorn Betty is the only person who has this enhanced image, and law enforcement doesn't.
Now, Bullhorn Betty has it, and a couple of other of her cohorts have it and put it out. But yeah, the police don't have it. Isn't that something?
Mm.
Okay, let me see if it'll view posters. We can all see it bigger, and we'll show you. Um, okay, so originally they had the date as the 26th is the last day that Sebastian was seen, and they made a big deal about that with these creators, but they have changed it here in the details section that Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers has been, was last seen February 25th in the area of Stafford Court, which was his home, in Hendersonville, Tennessee. And then they still describe what he was wearing: the black sweatshirt, black sweatpants, and black square framed glasses. Sebastian had, all the other details are the same about his autism and medical conditions. But if you go and you review the TBI poster, it still has the 26th date. And it's at some point you law enforcement agencies need to get it together, be on the same page, and come out and hold a press conference and say, "You fools, sit down." Idaho did that. They came out and were like, "We don't, we got this cleared list." Nobody believed them, but it may not work. I don't care. I'm just saying they need to start getting better at communicating with social media. Delphi tried to come out and stop, doing side by side sketches. Well, you asked us to. But so if they're all going to come out and do things, I need the TBI to start stepping up. We had a lot of missing kids in Tennessee that have not been found. It's not just Sebastian. You already see the list. And Holland Snap's been gone for a long time, and there's a lot of mystery around that child.
Summer Wells.
The Summer Wells, another one, the perfect example, right? There's a lot of missing kids in Tennessee that just cannot simply seem to be found. They just poof, gone. And I understand that happens, but there's an overwhelming amount in Tennessee. So what's really going on there at some point? At some point, I do start to question, law enforcement. And I got in trouble for that very early on in this case by saying something about it. Well, everybody was going on about how Katie was guilty, and I'm like, wait, so y'all have no faith in the law enforcement agencies in Tennessee? Oh, now you're going after law enforcement? Well, aren't you? By continuing to say Katie's guilty, but they're too stupid to know. They're not going to cover it up for Katie, but they're too stupid to see the evidence in front of their face. Like, really? So at some point, when do I start calling out law enforcement for being shady or not doing a thorough job? What's really, but we also have footage of Sumner County Sheriff's himself going into the swamp to save an autistic child. What was it, 2 months ago? One went missing.
Yeah.
And they search, and he found him, and he was the one that ran out into the water, and he was probably thinking about the kids that are missing when he found that little kid. I'm not saying they're horrible investigators. I'm just saying, what's wrong? Like, I don't know anymore what to make of it. You saw a new Amber Alert there today for a very sweet-looking little girl. We had a kidnapping alert here this morning for a child. Came across the phone, but it wasn't an Amber Alert, though. It was just like a kidnapping. It was like really different and weird. I didn't know. Which I'm signed up for in my state we have FDLE, and I'm signed up through the state website to be notified when any pedophiles move within a certain range of my home. I can set the perimeter of the mileage. I get notifications when they move in, where they're living, what their picture looks like, what their charges were. I suggest all of you do that with your state. I also get all the Amber Alerts and missing alerts and silver alerts that come in. So that's just me, though. I do, because you never know when you're going to run across somebody or see them, right? Let me see here. I don't like starting things and then not following up on them. That's why I want Joe and I to finish our read on the Steins case before I jump into my next stories. Like, I'll be live in the morning, and I'll touch on some cases in the morning that I want to talk about. It won't be like our usual. I don't know when Joe will be available to finish the read. Maybe tomorrow evening. I'll get up with him and find out. And I'm working on some more stuff for Idaho 4 for us to go over. but there's two missing girls in my area. Well, a young woman and a girl. They've been missing for years, and their mothers have communicated and talked to one another over time. There was a lot of speculation around one of these girls, and this morning something dropped about one of them, and I want to go over that in the morning. It's actually on a News Nation piece, and I was very shocked. I immediately called my sister because she and I know this case pretty well. We know all the rumors over the years with this case. And I called her. She's like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's on national news. They're bringing more attention back to it." So I want to touch on it in the morning because I do. And Tiffany Daniels is the other case, and the one I'm speaking of is a case of a girl named Danielle Bell. And Dolphin, you know of Tiffany's case.
Right.
Work with me on that. Um, Danielle Bell is the other girl that I want to talk about and get their information out there. But there's also been a little bit of movement with Tiffany's case since you and I last spoke. So we'll go over that in the morning as well. Um,
Oh,
I,
that's good.
yeah, I'm not gonna, I'm very transparent. And when it comes to missing people, I have spoke to Tiffany's mother. Um, a couple of times, but nothing, that's shady, nothing I can't put out there, nothing like that. It's just trying to help her get information out there because her daughter's been gone a long time. And so we'll go in the morning. I think that's what my show will be about, is going over those two cases, and any other breaking news overnight. And if we get any Idaho docs dropped, we'll get into all that as well. But I wanted to come on tonight and go over these Stearns documents with you guys. Joe did a 6-hour live today, and I was there for all of that, but I did doze off on him one time by accident because I had a rough night. So I laid down for a minute on the bed, and the next thing I know, I kind of like nodded off for a little bit. But it's been a long day.
It happens.
It does happen. I was like, man, if I hadn't had such a rough night last night, sleep wise, not like I had a horrible night, something bad was going on. I just had one of my sleepless nights. And so, yeah, it kind of caught up to me this afternoon, and I was like, ugh. Um, you retweeted it earlier. It's weird. I live in Kentucky, but you retweeted what, hon? I'm trying to catch up on chat, guys. Mm. There's so many missing out there, that needs to be talked about when they go missing, right? Like getting all that information out there as fast as you can, and depending on their age, they don't get it out there. And a lot of times they want to say, "Yeah, well," in Tiffany's case, she wasn't even reported to. It took days for her roommate to report to anybody that she was missing.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't remember our talks about his daughter.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think she's involved anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I got theories on that too, but I probably shouldn't go into. But here anyway. But anyway, yeah, he was like, "Salty, you there?" Guys, I appreciate all of you coming in. I really do. I've kind of feel like I'm out of sorts for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe because I had a weird night and weird day. I don't know why it's been a weird day to me. I feel off about something. I don't know what it is yet. I can't quite put my finger on it. Um, I hate when I get those feelings that something somewhere is not quite right, and you know, trust your gut kind of thing.
Oh, yeah, always. Oh, no, Texas Ranger, I don't.
Yeah, stop indeed. No, she doesn't. We've tried to encourage her, but she don't encourage her too much. I like her to come here with me. No, I'm just
Yeah, I
kidding.
prefer getting on other people's panels,
I've been
helping research, that kind of thing.
Dolphin and I have been friends for a long time, and
Hmm.
we work on a lot of things. We did a lot of work on the Idaho 4 case behind the scenes, not like work, just talking about the different aspects of the case and what all was being put out there. And she's very knowledgeable about all the facts of the case as well. So I love her thought process behind all the cases we cover too. So I always enjoy having her whenever she's available to get up here with me. Yeah, we need her here, right, Forrest? She belongs to us now. You guys can't have her. If you want her, you got to come here.
I've been hijacked. Okay.
Yeah, Dolphin, you know that people love you. So I remember when she first got on a panel, everybody was like, "Oh my God, she has this sexy radio voice." That's so
Oh
cool.
boy.
I'm glad you guys enjoy her because I thought you would. That's why I asked her to come be a part of this show and co-host and all these good things. So I really enjoy having her up here as well. Um, and I know Joe enjoys her as well. So yeah, all of you. Thank you, Lisa, for subbing up and coming in.
You guys are sweet.
Yeah, we have a good chat. We really do. Um, Lisa says, thanks so much for letting me hang out with you guys. Hopefully everything's okay. Everything's off here because of the weather. Yeah, right. Well, plus we've had a full moon, and that always kind of is, I think it's like starting to wane now. But anyway, that's probably been part of my issues, just feeling that energy because I'm an energy person. And I think I was having too much energy. But you're always welcome to come and hang out with us anytime. And like I said, we will be live again in the morning, guys. So I will see you then if you're up and available. If not, you can catch us on the replay crew. Dolphin, again, I appreciate you coming up and being up here with us. And
Yeah, no problem.
we'll continue to follow up on the cases we are already following. And as new stuff comes down, we'll be sure to bring it to you guys as soon as we can. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to let all you go. Have a great night. If you're interested in that Delphi case, get over there and take a look at Bob's stuff here in a little while. I'm sure it'll be interesting. All right. Well, with that said, everybody have a great night.
Thank you all for watching this here video. Please like and subscribe and follow. Much love from Little Yas to each